What if true love wasn't about money, but about choosing each other when money appears? Vanessa owns a small hair salon built with patience and heart. Karl is a simple man who worked for years, earned his fortune honestly, and built his dream house with his own hands. Their love begins quietly, with haircuts, black coffee, evening walks, and unspoken feelings. But when big money enters their lives, everything is tested. A wedding without luxury, a house built from dreams, and a choice that could either make them rich or make them lose each other.
Love Stories Max. Welcome to my channel. Enjoy watching, friends.
When the heart chooses home, I always believed that love comes quietly. Not with fireworks or loud promises, but with small things. A look that lingers a little longer, a gentle, "How was your day?" at the end of an exhausting evening. A cup of coffee placed next to you without a single word. That morning, I opened my small hair salon before sunrise, just like every other day. The scent of freshly ground coffee mixed with shampoo and hairspray. The mirrors were waiting for their stories, and I was waiting for my clients. My salon was my pride. I had built it from nothing, with hard work, faith in myself, and a dream that one day it would become more than just a job. That was the day he walked in. Karl looked simple, a dark jacket, slightly worn boots, hands marked by work, hands that knew effort, not shortcuts. He smiled awkwardly and said his sister had sent him. "She says it's time I look like a human being again, not a construction worker after a storm." I laughed, genuinely, easily. And something clicked inside me. While I was cutting his hair, he barely spoke. But it wasn't uncomfortable silence. It was warm. I saw his eyes in the mirror, honest, attentive. When he stood up and thanked me, it felt like he was grateful for something much deeper than a haircut. He came back the next week. Then again. Soon, he started bringing coffee, always black, because once I mentioned that I liked it bitter. We started talking. Slowly, carefully. Karl told me about his life. Years of hard work, construction jobs, night shifts. He didn't grow up with much. No safety net, no shortcuts. But he had a dream. To build his own house. Not just a building, but a place filled with quiet mornings, warmth, and a future. I listened and realized I admired him. His strength, his patience, the way he never complained, he just kept moving forward. Our meetings became more frequent. Evening walks after I closed the salon. Silent moments on a park bench when words felt unnecessary. He always walked me home. Always waited until I locked the door. But there was fear. I was afraid to trust. Afraid that a man so focused on his dream wouldn't have space for me in it. One night, I told him we might be too different. That I lived for my salon, and he lived for his construction sites. Karl stayed quiet for a long time. Then he said softly, "I'm not building a house for myself. I'm building it for the woman I want to wake up next to." Those words broke every wall I had left. Months later, he took me out of the city. I didn't know where we were going. When we stopped, I saw the house. Light-filled, spacious, smelling of fresh wood and paint. Big windows, a terrace, a small garden. "I earned it with my own hands," he said. "But without you, it's just walls." I cried, not from sadness, but from the feeling of finally being home. Our wedding wasn't loud. It was ours. I remember that morning in every detail. Sunlight resting on white curtains, the house filled with the scent of flowers and coffee. Karl had woken up early, as always. My dress hung on the wardrobe door, simple, soft, without unnecessary sparkle. I didn't want to look like a magazine bride. I wanted to look like a woman marrying the man she loved. Karl saw me in the yard, near the apple tree he had planted himself. His hands trembled when he took mine. In that moment, I realized he was more nervous than I was. "I don't promise a perfect life," he whispered during his vows. "Neither do I replied. "I promise to stay." They were the most honest words I had ever spoken. After the wedding, our house filled with the quiet of a new beginning. We learned to live together, not like in romantic movies, but for real. I left notes on the table with kisses instead of signatures. He fixed shelves that didn't need fixing, just because he liked doing something for our home. And then money entered our life. Karl was offered a major contract. A very big one. Numbers that didn't feel real. Another city. Different people. Different rules. Money that could change everything. Our house, my salon, our future. I saw how he stopped sleeping. How he calculated, planned, stayed silent. Money didn't make him happy. It made him uncertain. One evening I said, "If you go, I'll understand." He stared out the window for a long time, watching the terrace lights sway. "And if I stay," he asked quietly, "will you regret it?" That was the first time I felt real fear, not of losing comfort, but of losing us. While Karl hesitated, change reached me too. Wealthy clients started coming to my salon. Investors, franchise offers, big opportunities, but with conditions. Change the style, cut staff, make everything more profitable. I held the contract in my hands and didn't recognize myself. There was no soul in it. We stopped talking. We didn't argue, which was worse. We stayed silent, each of us alone with numbers, plans, and fears. One night, I found Karl in his workshop. He was sitting on the floor among tools, just like he used to when the house was only a dream. "I'm scared," he said. "If I take this money, we'll become strangers." I sat down beside him. "And I'm scared that if we refuse, we'll regret it." We stayed quiet for a long time. Then he took my hand. "I built the house with my hands. But marriage is built with the heart. And the heart is not for sale." We said no, both of us. It wasn't easy afterward. Sometimes it was scary. But every evening, we came home, to the terrace light, to our coffee, to our conversations. My salon stayed small, but alive. Karl kept working honestly, without chasing shortcuts. And the house became full. Now I know this. Money shows who you are. Love shows who you choose to remain. And if temptation ever comes again, we already know the answer. Because true wealth isn't in accounts or contracts. It's the person sitting beside you on the floor, holding your hand, when the world becomes too loud. This story isn't really about a house. And it isn't about money. It's about the quiet moments where real choices are made, not when life is easy, but when temptation appears wearing the mask of success. Money can build walls, open doors, and change addresses. But it cannot replace honesty, late-night conversations, or the feeling of being truly at home with another human being. Vanessa and Karl didn't choose the safest path. They chose the truest one. They learned that love doesn't grow louder when life becomes richer. It grows deeper when two people protect each other from becoming strangers. That success means nothing if it costs you your voice, your values, or the person who knows your silence. The real test of love isn't poverty or hardship. It's abundance. Because when there is plenty, you finally see what a person is willing to trade, and what they will never sell. A strong relationship isn't built on numbers, contracts, or status. It's built on shared evenings, honest fears, mutual respect, and the courage to say no together. True wealth is coming home to someone who chooses you, even when the world offers more.